Hello, welcome back to the Masters Cup Round 5, part of the GT Driver career, the CLR World Series in 2025. So yeah, halfway through that season, 2 cars done, 2 more cars to go. So today, it's the first of 2 races in the Toyota GR Corolla. Fun little all-wheel drive car, and we are at the Deep Forest Raceway, and next week we have Sardinia. Well, with that car, and then we see round 7 and 8 we have the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Also great car, fun tracks probably to go with as well. So yeah, have a look at our drivers and the championship standings after 4 rounds. It's Chico Blasi leading, quite comfortable. River and E-Racing P2, P3 with quite some gap, but you never know. B-Racing had to miss 1 race. Still there on the podium so far, looking good. And then the gaps between the other cars a bit smaller between Couch and Shelty in P5, or Richie with a couple of races as a reserve there. And we have once again P7, P8, Trelazzi and Evoque, like very close on track and on the standings as well. And we see the rest of the championship standing so far. I think enough of that. So we will focus on the qualifying session that will start in a couple of minutes. So just let the drivers know. Somehow changed the game sound for me. It was very low. Yeah, so as usual, 10 minutes of qualifying, then a 30-minute race. We have the sports soft tires, multipliers ×1 for fuel and the tire wear. So nothing special, nothing crazy, 30 minutes, no pit stop needed. Also, it's BOP stock settings for that car. So you don't have access to like the brake balance controller or the torque vectoring diff, so you have to live with what is in stock in that car. But I feel like it is a very agile 4-wheel drive, to be honest. So rear end a bit loose, and you don't have that much of a crazy understeer. Yeah, they're shipping points, but you get 50 points for a W, plus 8 points for pole position, plus 5 points for fastest lap. So with 1 triple crown, you get, like, if you do the math correctly, 63 points for 1 race. So those gaps can come down. That's the point system, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of points. I know, yeah. These are the World Series point system we are using for a couple of time now. Oh, yeah. More points, more fun. Usually, and yeah, let's hope that we get to see a close race once again. So far this season didn't disappoint at all. Very close racing between the drivers. Everywhere. So yeah, hoping to see something similar today. And with that being said, so I'm ready to start that qualifying session. Oh, let's say good luck. We'll see about the lap time, so a bit afraid what I will see now. A little bit of a test run yesterday, roughly 10-15 minutes. So I need to press start, right? I always forget those small things. So yeah, I think I'll tell you after the qualifying session where I would probably qualify with my time. I still find it's a fun car to drive, and also the track. It's a nice one, even if it's like being overused in the sport mode, daily races. But we go with the road cars instead of the Group 3, Group 4 cars, and the stream sniper is in here as well, rabbit evening. So this means B-Racing is still not streaming, so you want to see how he performs in his orange hatchback with some Dragon Ball stickers. That's what I can like recognize, but I'm not that deep into anime or stuff like that. Let's have a look. Couch B, White Tiger, Shelty, Glassy, Banana is back on the rear, Kip, TCR, Evok, River, Little Gap 2, Richie on the outlet, Gelancy, Rick from Australia down under, early morning stint once again for him, BMO, if Davo as a reserve joins us once again, and Stu as well. Pizza delivery it is. Alright, and it will be Couch Racing first driver, so you know what that means. Onboard time through the final turn, we go on to the straight. I think roughly at the 150, but you hit the brakes or start off the curb, go into third gear, keep a nice little tight line, and then early onto the power. The car, as I said, doesn't understeer too much. You go into the infield section, so use all of the left, cut the right, swing it over to the left, braked, fourth gear, early onto the power, don't let that rear drift so much into the slow right-hander through the tunnel. One of the track limit areas. We go downhill left, a bit sideways as well. All on control now. Start off that lighter gray part on the bridge, and then early on the power to get the run down the back straight. And we see B-Racing is right behind, getting a nice little toe of the Couch Racing. So past the penalty zone, through the final tunnel we go. Again, we look at roughly the 150 to brake. And then the slow hairpin, tried to get an early run that looked decent. Stuck in between second and third gear. And then it's the run to the line. We will see the first reference lap time. So 1 minute 40 something. 41 it is. B-Racing with a 40.2. Nice little slip. Or the Dodge driver, Blazi with a 41.0. Richie with a 40.6. Currently P2. Then River Ruckus in 5th position with his twin right behind. River and Shelty had the same idea with that livery by the looks. I think they run different rim colors on the wheels. And we see Davo with a 40.9 up to P3 after the first flying lap. It is, we can definitely expect an improvement for Blazi, the championship leader. Also Pizza Planet, so who is the fastest pizza delivery driver? Yet I think Stu as well with the blue livery with pizza on it, Domino's. Wait, it's 3/10. for Blasi. That could move him up at least into P3. Just needs to nail that final hairpin. Third gear on exit now. And gets around Richie into the bits. Something happened during the qualifying between two drivers. So sorry message. So improvement incoming probably for Blasi. What's it gonna be? A 40.8. Yeah, P3 River Ruckus up to P2. A 40.6. That is close between River and Richie. But that lap 40.2 with the slipstream. Still that second lap for me racing, a 40.5 would still be enough to get that pole position. And once again, a great first sector. Let's get a little bit of chase cam action. Drifting the car a little bit, but keeping that speed up, the momentum. Then third gear, early on to the power. Don't run too wide, the exit. Looks decent. Can he get a run without the slip? Now down the straight. He's down now. So first sector was great without that little help. Down the back straight. Losing. Sometimes still up for a great lap and sets the cone. Like nearly wide. We'll see if the game allows it. Think just, yeah. What's it gonna be? Another mid 1 minute 40? 40.9. Blasi up to P2. Healthy up to P2. Look at that 40.4. Blasi with a 40.6. The third driver with a 40.6. Blasi, River, and Richie both with a 0.6. B racing in pole couch racing in P6 with a 40.9. I think they were also just with a 40.9 to 7 drivers in that 1 minute 40. White Tiger 41.5. P8 Rick. That is a 41.7 currently. P9 Evoke 41.8, so it's close gaps. PMO not too far behind. 41.9 Stu 2/10 missing. Trelancy also, and Kip sitting in the pits, so doesn't fancy going for another qualifying run. So who can improve? The two Corolla twins, they're slipstreaming each other, or what's that? Definitely a run for River Ruckus. Second in the championship. Close to Blasi. Today's would be starting second row. But can he get a run? 1.5 minutes to go. Couch racing up to P3, nice one of 40.5 and a 40.6. Oh, close. So final lap. Now we have racing still on pole position. Shelty improved. No, didn't improve. Stays in P2, but Couch racing improved to a 40.5 in to third position. What about Blasi? Our championship leader, P4. Oh, getting sideways. The car be racing stopped. The qualifying now won't be improving. What about Blasi? Will he get a nice little toe on that back straight? Maybe. Shelty and River. Just don't run too wide. I think he is just within that slipstream range, so could be up for an improvement. Not getting closer though. What's that? 2/10 behind. Still doable, I think. We will stay with loudly for the run into. He happened late on the brakes. That was too late. Overshot that turn. So I think he will be improving. Stay in P4 at the max. Couch with a penalty. What about Shelty? Has to slip. Could improve even. What about River? River improved up to the end. Shelty up to P1. A massive run with the slipstream. A 40.1. B Racing drops down to P2. River up to P3. Couch in P4. Loudly then on the third row to start. Next to Richie. Maybe Richie still on that lap. What can he do? To wait for the next split sector. He's drifting it. Also Davo probably start in P7, White Tiger P8. So Richie the final driver, probably on a fast lap. Oh, 2/10. He will join that front group by the looks. Can he get into the second row? Again, that rear stepping out, but gives a nice little slip angle for the exit. And now just has to wait now. Not much you can do wrong now after the hairpin. Going for it. 7, 8, 9, 0, 5 up to P3. Whoa! Look at that. Good final lap for Richie. That's third position. So yeah, so my practice lap times were something about 40.67 in the end. So I'm not that washed. So at least. But I was a bit afraid that they were lapping like 39s, but low 40s. That was probably what was I expecting for the pole position with some slipstream assist, of course. So here we go. Shelty takes pole position and 8 extra points. B Racing in P2 with 5 extra points in P2, and Richie with 3 points in P3. Then River starts next to Richie on the second row in P4. The third row with Couch and Blasi P5. P6, but those gaps, look at that, between P3 and P6. The 10th, so fourth row, we have a TCR row once again, after we have a front row lookout for TCR. So row number 4, Davo and White Tiger. Also not a big gap between those two. Then we have a bigger gap to the next set of drivers, Stu and Rick. Row number 5, we have Ewok and DMO. That's also not too far off. And then Trelency and Kip. Kip didn't get a lap like in that qualifying session, hoping for the race, then find some pace and to make up some ground. Totally alright. So that's the qualifying session, and we are starting soon. So we are not doing quali, right? We are starting that race now soon. So 30 minutes flat out. You have to stay in a group and to have a good race. So that's what we're all here for. Action-packed racing action on a Thursday. Your GT Travel Career, the Masters Cup round 5. And with that being said, I shall start that race. Here we go. So Grid start with false start check, the usual stuff. And a probably interesting turn number 1. Again, what can go wrong? I keep my finger pressed on the safe replay marker just in case. So Shelty on pole, he's racing next to him on the front row, then Richie and River. Second row, Couch, Blasi, row number 3, and it's lights out. Away we go. What a race. Very defensive drive for Shelty, covering the inside line early. Gives maybe Richie a look around the outside. No, it's on the inside. They go side by side through the first turn. Different lines, all lean so far, what I can tell. 2 wide, 3 wide coming out the first turn, so can we keep it clean? Someone hit the wall already, a bit unsettled. And a penalty as well in that mid-pack. Side-by-side racing action, we can go to the front. Shelty, 3/4 tenths the gap. Single finalist for now. Be racing to Richie, 3rd. River in 4th. Couch, P5, Blasi, P6. And a little gap to Davo, 4 tenths. And we see the first slip streaming happening. And Shelty with a penalty. Won't be serving it this lap. Has the inside line and be racing with a great run. Has his nose in front, but Shelty on the inside. They go side by side into the hairpin. And we see a bit of contact between the cars behind, but all good. Fair and square touring car as racing it is for in those cars. And we have a big queue of cars right behind for the first time crossing the line and head into first turn with race speed. Racing catching, not close enough. Shelty going defensive. We see another big dive there. That was, I think, Couch. Was it Blasi? Blasi sent it in his black red liveried Pizza car. So where are my camera angles? I missed them. B Racing moved up into P number 1, got past Shelty, and Shelty has to serve a penalty. Let's go to Davo's at the back of this front group of cars, 7 cars, within 2 seconds, so we get the view from Davo. Blasi in P6, Couch P5, Richie 3rd, Shelty 2nd, and B Racing leading, gets a good run. Shelty serves the 1 second, but he got another half a second, so he will lose probably 5 positions. In the end, we'll see where is Blasi. Shelty still on the inside. Can they make it side by side? Looks like they can. A little bit of contact between them, but all fair and square. So Shelty dropped down to P6 for now. Davo P7, then we have Stu in 8, Evo right behind in P9, White Tiger, then in P10, then Slipstream Range, little gap, to Kip in P11, then we have Rick in 12, Trelency second behind in P13, and BMO P14 for now, back to the lead. Where we see someone went really wide into the first turn. Was it River? I don't know, or was it Shelty? The cars are so similar, but continue racing, and someone, we are missing someone. Who are we missing? It's Blasi. So I pressed the safe replay marker. Let's see what happened to the Italian driver. Just delayed and then touched the grass and spin, and then unlucky for the cars behind. So a big mistake. That's an opportunity, of course, now for B Racing and River Records to make up some ground in the overall championship, with Blasi sitting outside of the top 10, P11 currently. But still 25 minutes, a long way to go. 6/10 that gap for B Racing now. A little gap to Richie in P2, and then the two Germans once again very close. Couch and River. River not going for the move. Using that slip to get closer, but we have now 5 cars battling for the lead. A little gap to Devo. Served that penalty and lost the contact. He was at the back of that group last lap. Now has to probably defend that position. Stu in P7, very close behind, and back to the lead battle. E-Racing, Richie, Couch, River sideways with a Shelty. They're coming out of turn number 1. River is losing a little bit of contact now. Second roughly to the top 3. Couch, Richie, and B-Racing. Again, blistering pace at the top of this race. 40.5 already, 40.3 for Couch Racing. With a little bit of slipped, of course it is, but yeah, but then a bit of a poor middle sector for Couch. 1 second the gap to Richie now. This gives River Ruckus and Shelty the opportunity to get closer than Devo in 6, Stu in P7, Ewok 8, Kip 9th, Blasi up to P10 with the run. Using a little bit of a bob job to really find that gap. To Kip going defensive, no, not covering the inside, so probably Blasi will go for the move into the hairpin. No, stay behind for now. Waiting for the run out of the hairpin. And yeah, bringing that gap down slightly. 3/4 it is at the moment. Richie and B Racing opened up that gap to the two Germans. Another 1.1, and you see Shelty versus River. River again a bit too late. Car control though, that rear always wants to step out, but it's actually in a good controlled way, so you can manage it. Don't lose that rear completely. Also E-Racing with a massive drift through the twisty bits of that thing. Same goes Richie, too much of a drift. Oh, he caught that white line as well. Will this be a penalty? Yeah, 1 second. Whoa, that is harsh. But he clearly went off track. He avoided the spin. So this is like the golden opportunity for B Racing now. 1 second that gap to Richie, who has to serve the penalty. Couch Racing is outside of the slipstream. Then when Richie serves that one, so B Racing with that gap to have maybe a chilled race. I don't know. It's 1.2. Richie serving that 1 second penalty. He still manages to keep P2. Look at that. But he's outside of the slip with 1.6, 1.7. Just so you don't lose that much. Okay, interesting. I thought you'd lose way more time. Couch in third. Still in that slipstream that tows along Shelty and River. So 4 cars in the hunt for the top positions, and River a bit too deep into turn number 1, had contact with Shelty and loses the momentum. Devo in 6th position, 2.5 seconds, that gap to P5, maybe, with a clean drive. If something is possible, Stu then in P7 and Blasi up to P8 with that compact drive. 1.5, the gap just to Stu, so maybe top 5 still possible for the championship leader Ewok. Then 1.1 behind Kip in 10th. Close the gap to Trilancy in P11. BMO moved up into 12th position, got past Rick P13. Oh, and White Tiger decided it's not fun to drive. Come on, this is a fun car. Embrace it a little bit. Definitely the guys are giving us a great show once again. The 1.3, 1.4 seconds roughly. Now B Racing Richie with another half-second penalty. Couch also couldn't get closer to Richie through that middle and final sector. So gaps are opening up slightly now. Shelty in P4. River in 5th. On the edge of losing that toe. 1.4, 1.5 now. Get brakes maybe a little bit too late for turn number 1. It doesn't hook the inside. Blasi will be fighting with a Stu very soon. Now for precision, let's get a little bit of an on-board impression. This is really where you have to be patient and then go on to the power as soon as the car is straight. 7/8 tenths is still the gap. The smooth, pretty downhill left-hander. Then I found Drake early. Gets your wheels to the inside curve. Then early on the power Stu with a great run coming out of that turn. Doesn't give Blasi the opportunity to get that much closer for still 7/8 tenths roughly. The gap. Maybe something can happen out of the hairpin again. Gets a good turn in, good angle for the run, and gains nearly 5/10 out of one single turn, and now has the slipstream advantage as well. Stu not going defensive. So Blasi looking already down the inside of turn number 1. Braking at the same point, but then inside line gets close to the inside curb, the apex, and up a position for Blasi. P7 it is next up. Will be Devo under 2 seconds that gap for B Racing. He pulled a lead now 2.3 seconds with drivers behind him collecting some penalties. Clean drive so far for B Racing in P1, 2.3 seconds Couch, and within a second again to Richie in P3 Shelty, also not too far behind, 7/8 tenths, and River Ruckus needs to get back into that 1.5 second range at least to have an opportunity. Devo in 6th, 2.4, good lap time, 40.9 last time round. Blasi with the overtake, past Stu, closing that gap to Devo in P6, Stu in P8, Ewok in 9th currently, Kip P10, 1.78, that's the gap for many of the drivers so far. We have Rick and BMO, P12 and P13, that is one of the closest gaps currently between the drivers. BMO with a good run out of the final turn, 7/10. And Rick somehow got that power down. It's 8/10 now. 2.5, B Racing increasing his lead. Richie, Couch and Shelty. So this is still, I think, anyone's game for P2 if B Racing doesn't do any silly mistakes and collects penalty at some point. 2.3, 2.4 is good. Richie's thrown it through the middle part, opening up that gap to Couch, 1.2 at the moment. The aggressive driving. Richie a good run. 1.3 now. Out racing lost some momentum. 1.4. This could be Shelty's opportunity. Another little mistake for River Ruckus. 2.2. He's out of that slipstream now. Definitely Davo with a half-second penalty. Doesn't serve it this lap though. But this is still good news for Blasi. Within a second, and might get a free position next time round under a tenth now. Again, Blasi with a good exit out of that hairpin. So gets a nice little drift going into that turn and then gets early on to the power. Then he uses that slipstream to personal best, 40.3. That's not too far off the fastest lap of the race. That belongs to Richie currently. Let's get the view through the twisty bits. That Davo got it all wrong. You were on camera. Come on. No. Suddenly that rear went and caught red-handed. Shelty now all over Couch Racing's rear. 3/10. Can Couch defend that P3 for now? It's still 3/10. Under 3 now, so we gain a little bit, but not that much. Oh, Richie has served a penalty as well. Look at that. 4 seconds to that gap now. 2 Racing and Richie all out of shape coming into the hairpin. Couch with a run. And Richie slots in between Couch and Shelty for now. Though they changed the positions and B Racing is gone. He checked out of that race early and might bring home another victory. So Richie sends it down the inside in T1. Couch goes wide, leaves room on the inside. Brings Shelty also back into the mix. So once again we go on board. See the frantic racing action between those 3 drivers. Again, very close to exploiting track limits. Nice run. But still close. Richie again with a good middle sector, opening up that gap slightly to the German driver. And I don't know, did they just gain on B Racing? B Racing lost nearly 2 seconds. Well, he made a little mistake. Yeah, look at that, 2 seconds down. So just a little moment of not being concentrated. The rear just went, and look at that. Just 2.6. It's getting closer again. On a Couch very wide and deep into the hairpin. Down to P4 once again, and this is an opportunity for River Ruckus as well. Just 1.7. He got some clean laps here over the last 2 at least, so he might still get a look at a podium. And as we see side by side, Couch on the inside, Shelty on the other. Couch goes very deep. Whoa! What a sad and a half it was. He avoided somehow all of the other drivers. Let's go back and see what the hell. Where's here's Couch? Woo! Send it like there's no tomorrow. Wow, but that was it looked great, but probably like wee moment. Yeah, and River's back. Look at that. Just a second now to P4. Also Blasi just 3 seconds behind with 10.5 minutes to go in P7. You have Dave after that little mistake. Stu in P8, so gaps are opening up a little bit between those drivers. Ewok and Sholenzi, the two. P9, P10 close on the grid as well. Rick moved up to P11, but got a half-second penalty. Got past Kip. Kip is close with BMO just under 210. Then good exit for the Belgian driver. Should get the run before the hairpin, maybe, moves alongside. Kip still there. Another half-second penalty. Still on the inside. Will he brake late? He defends the inside line. DMO goes around the outside, moves up one spot into P12. A second, the gap to Rick at the front. Be Racing opening up that gap again. 3.4. Shelty moved up into second position. Richie third. Couch in fourth, and River Rumpus P5, and Blasi is like hoping for something to happen between those 3-4 drivers in front of him. So Richie sitting in between Shelty and Couch. Shelty tries to get a clean run through the middle sector, but that all helps B-Racing once again after one little mistake on lap 11, a 42.5. He's back into the 1 minute 40s. And Shelty with a good run to the back straight, 7/10, nearly at gap, so no immediate threat from Richie behind. Or 10th to Couch will descend it again. We'll find out pretty soon. Well, this time I think he gets it stopped, but River gained like crazy in that braking zone. Half a second, and Blasi 3 seconds to gap. What is possible? Still 8 minutes to go. Shelty, P2, Richie, 7, 8, 10 roughly. Not really gaining. Couch in fourth position, gets a standard run into the first turn. River as well, so let's move down the order. See Davo with a drift into turn 1, Stu as well in 8th, Ewok and Jolenzi 5 seconds. So I don't think they will be having a wheel-to-wheel battle this time. Rick kept that position. Goes also a bit too hot into the first turn. Patria stepping out, BMO gaining, and Kip 2 seconds now. The gap. Racing keeping his lead just under 4 seconds, so nothing to worry at the moment. And this is where the action is. Shelty, Richie, Couch Racing, River Ruckus, 4 cars fighting for the remaining 2 podium spots with less than 7 minutes to go. A bit wide on the exit for River Ruckus, gets a massive run, but was it within the track limits? It was. What a exit. Will Couch Racing defend the inside line? Doesn't look like. Will we get a bump? River is sending it now. Inside line. No. Couch Racing very late defends that position and gets closer to Rich as well. They come nearly side by side out of turn number 1. And Couch kept his nose just in front. Chase cam. Oh, Richie made a mistake. He went too deep. And now Couch has to suffer a little bit. And River as well cannot go with the usual speed and their usual racing lines through those turns. And then a big sand down the inside. 1 second penalty for Couch Racing. Oh no, he won't be happy with that. And he has to serve it now as well. Probably that was the decision for River. To send it down the inside, to not lose contact with Ritchie. Couch with damage as well. So what happened while serving the penalty? He's out of that slipstream now, and Blasi 1.6, 1.7 behind with a good run out of the final turn. He might get a chance for a P5. See, so River goes in P4, but with a half-second penalty. Ritchie in third also with a half-second penalty. Shelty then open up that gap slightly, 1.3, so fighting behind help Shelby as well. And E-Racing now back into the zone. 4.5 minutes to go roughly, so that's should be 3 laps roughly. I think, yeah, 3 to go. So E-Racing leading Shelty in P2, Ritchie Bill in P3 with that half second, but the same half second penalty for River in P4 right behind. Then Couch in P5 and Blasi within a second now. Damage limitation for the championship leader. Davo in P7, that's very wide. Will this be a penalty? I don't know. Evok up to P8, got the pass Stu with a little mistake by the looks. And Trelawney also closed the gap 2 seconds, maybe. Yes, it was too soon that we won't be seeing Evok and Trelawney with a wheel-to-wheel battle. We have Rick in P11 and BMO P12. We lost the driver. I think that's Kip. We lost Kip, unfortunately. No, during that race. Well, 3 minutes to go, 2 more laps. It is Ritchie going defensive against River. But keep that P3 for now. Late to the brakes. Same River versus Blasi. Less than a second between those two. Stay with Ritchie and River. Battle for E3, the final podium spot. And again, Ritchie a bit out of shape. Loses some momentum, 2 seconds. That gap to Shelty. 2 and 4 seconds between E-Racing and Shelty. Can Ritchie keep that position? Gets a decent run, but River is still there. 3. And also Couch versus Blasi, half a second on the penultimate lap of the race. Will we see a move happening? No, not yet. At least not between Ritchie and River. What about Couch and Blasi? Also not. They are staying single file, and Blasi relying on his great run out of the hairpin once again. He gained so much time. Look at that. This could be the run into turn 1. Already close behind. Couch not going defensive, not depending the inside line. Blasi already side by side. I heard tires, but all good. Blasi around the outside. Oh, Couch with some very nice defensive driving, went for the cutback, so, but gets a half second penalty. Oh, Ritchie versus River, 7, 8, 10. That gap again, sliding it. Looks to be very fun indeed. So last 30 seconds, be racing just 2 crucial turns, I think it is. This one, don't run too wide, looks decent enough, more seconds than gap still. To Shelty in P2, Richie versus River, 6/10 roughly, and Couch versus Blasny. Couch with a half-second penalty and Blasny without a penalty, so Blasny will get that position before the hairpin. Penalty zone just round about here. So Blasny moves up into B5 and B Racing comes around the final turn and wins round number 5 at Deep Forest in the Toyota GR Corolla. We missed something between Richie and River. No, not a moment. So B Racing with DW. Congrats. Shelty with a P2. And then Richie will keep P3. River finishes in P4. Blasny in P5. Couch P6. Next up will be Davo in 7th. And then we should have cars close. Ewok will get that P8. Stay in front of Stu and Trelancy. So top 10. Now cross the line. Rick with a P11. Opened up that gap to BMO to 3.6 in the end. White Tiger on the outlap. And Kip with the disconnect by the looks of it. Alright, again, what a race. Congrats to everyone. Save replay and have a look at the race results. So B Racing victory. LT P2, Richie P3, Richie with the fastest lap and 5 extra points. The rower was done in P4. Blasny P5 for today for the championship leaders, should still keep that lead overall. Couch Racing then in 6th position. And between P2 and P6 it was so close throughout this race. A couple of penalties, track limit penalties, that in the end decided those positions. Davo was briefly fighting with some of the drivers, but was like sitting in between the groups. Ewok then P8 and got past Stu towards the end of that race. Trelancy also closed that gap towards the end of top 10 finish. Rick it is Tang in P11, BMO P12, and then the 2 PCR drivers at the back, White Tiger and Kip. White Tiger with an early pit stop to retire the car, and Kip DNF the disconnect. Alright, so that's it for round number 5. Just picking up the schedule. So next week, round 6, we stay in the car, move over from Switzerland to Italy, and we go to Sardinia. Road track B it is. Yeah, one of my favorite layouts. So B layout is fun to see if those cars behave on the B layout as well. And it looked like lots of fun. Cars a bit like loose on the rear end, still you have grip with the all-wheel drive. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you next week again for round number 6, and also check out our other streams on the CLR YouTube channel. Saturday we have the Road to Le Mans multi-class racing action, 19 minutes at Interlagos, and then next week we'll be back with the replay stream for the TEC season on the Tuesday, and on Thursday it is the Masters Cup round 6. So yeah, take care everyone, have a good one, see you soon, love you all, yippee-ki-yay.